Where do the doctors come in? The doctors come in the fact that when they capture the food security, which they actually have done now, because most of the seed growers have been killed. Just to give you an example, between 2015 and 2018, 37,500 victims were killed by Boko Haram. Okay. These were farmers. Then of these 37,500, 32,000, that's 85% were Muslims. 5,500 were Christians. And in states like Zamfara, 60% of the victims were Hausa, 40% were Fulani. So it became clear that this has nothing to do with Islamic terrorism. It has to do with elimination of all the seed growers. Okay. Now they have eliminated the seed growers. Okay. Now they're moving into the second phase of their program. Now, when the farmers go to them, we now depend exclusively on the GMOs.
Okay. So we now depend on GMOs right now?
Exactly. Okay. Because without the GMOs, you cannot really get seeds, unless we are getting seeds from different African countries and some places. Some places in the south, especially southwest, and some parts of southeast, we can still get our own seeds because the Boko Haram have not really infiltrated them. But they are trying to do that. So what is happening now is that they want to move into the next phase. The next phase is whereby they will have total monopoly of the seeds, and then they will tell the farmers, you want us to give you seed, okay, we can give you seed, but on the premise that you must tell your wife and daughters to go and donate their ovarian eggs.
That's a conditional gift.
Conditional gift. Food, that is, if you want food, you have to donate ovarian eggs, the eggs of women. And why do they have to do that? They have to do that because the Western countries need these ovarian eggs for cloning. Nigeria is the only country in the world and in the history of the world which has legalized collection of organs without consent. So your organ, which you own, which is your person, if you go to the hospital, they can collect that organ without your consent, because it states in the National Health Act of 2014 and 2015, actually signed in 2015, states that you can actually collect that organ without consent. In section 48 and 51 of the National Health Act 2014 version of it, actually states that you can collect that organ without consent. You can collect organ and you can collect the gametes, that is the eggs of women, without consent of the patient.
That's very dangerous.
That's very dangerous, but it was allowed into law. I personally led the doctors' delegation in the National Assembly hearing, at the Senate hearing, and pointed this out before Ike Ekweremadu, before Governor, the main proponent of the law, who was Ifeanyi Okowa, Senator Ifeanyi Okowa then. And then, of course, Senator Ngige then was also present at that public hearing. I pointed this out, that you cannot do this under any law. But they overruled the public hearing, and Senator Ekweremadu, who was the person who was conducting the public hearing, did not heed to all the calls by all the people present. And what happened? They passed the law with this defect. So all the people who are waiting to harvest organs, harvest eggs, are all in Nigeria. They are setting up their different NGOs. Can you explain why there is a multiplicity of NGOs in the Northeast, where there is a conflict going on?
Yeah, okay. Doc, I'll come back to this. But what I want to ask now, why is the gate focused on Nigerian doctors?
Yes.
Can you address that?
He's focused on Nigerian doctors because he now wants to harvest these eggs. And doctors are the people going to harvest these eggs. These are going to be in hospitals. But Nigerian doctors, he knows, because of our high moral standard, and I must say, very high moral standard, our doctors will not do that. Because our doctors know that if you keep on harvesting those eggs in those women 2 to 3 years later, they will die. Okay. They will die of liver failure, kidney failure, infections, some other complications. So we know that that's going to happen. So we're not going to do that. And when he called us, and I must say, I was physically present when Bill Gates called us through the General Electric, who he awarded the contract to build 260 hospitals in Nigeria, so that it will be at these hospitals they will be harvesting these organs and harvesting these eggs. So he will now take us out of the health sector. He invited the leaders in the private health sector and said, okay, look, I'm ready to offer you money to leave the healthcare sector. We told him before the executives of GE that he is mad and insane to demand such a thing.
To leave medical practice.
Then we should leave medical practice, and then he will pay us, no matter the amount of dollars we ask for. So we said, you are mad. We are not going to do that, and to hell with you.
Is that really?
We told him off before the executives of, I was personally present. The lab people, the president and secretaries of the lab, National Organization of the Laboratory Scientists was there. The president and secretary of the community pharmacists was there. And we told him to his face, to his presence, because they were talking on, it was a telecom conference, and then the executives of General Electric were there at the headquarters in Abuja. So we told him off that you cannot do that, even with all your money and all your thing, it's not going to be possible. Now, since we rejected that offer, he has moved to his second option. Okay, eliminate, kill all these doctors, and then take over the health sector. And he told us they have already taken up the whole government hospitals. They bought the federal medical centers, they bought the university teaching hospitals. So what is remaining now is for us to get out of business so he can carry out. So these hospitals will become places where foreigners can get organs. It will become places where he will harvest the ovarian eggs, and it will become a killing house for ordinary Nigerians. This is why this is dangerous, and this is why this country must, not just to stop it, not just to ban GMOs, we must call for an international inquiry in which Bill Gates will be brought before the courts of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the International Criminal Court, International Court of Justice. We must bring it the same way Nuremberg trial was done during the Nazi Germany.
Now, our security agencies are aware of this thing that is playing out.
Yes, we have actually written to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is the chief security officer of the country, and of course all the other agencies, both police, army, and all the also have our submission to the president. And the National Assembly has been well informed. The senators and then the House members have been informed about this. But it will not be something that we handle by government alone. The Nigerian people must stand out. This Bill Gates wants to set up these killing houses in Nigeria called his hospitals. We know that firsthand because there is no way he can invest all this money, he can carry out all this program only for Nigerians to get better health. No, this is a killing house. Do you know that the Western countries did this for over 20 years in India and Southeast countries? The same type of thing in a way that they use the lower caste people, the black people of India.
Okay.
And they use them to put out to take organs, sell organs in all across Southeast Asia. And this happened for 20 good years until a black Indian became the Minister of Health and stopped this activity a few years ago. Now we will not let that happen in this country. We must call for the arrest of Bill Gates and all his cronies in this country, all of them, all the NGOs he's using, and all the individuals that are helping him to carry out this program. The Nigerian people must take that responsibility. It's not a responsibility government alone can. The government can't. The government can. The government of Nigeria cannot do this on their own. So it will mean the Nigerian people, the Nigerian youth, because these slaughterhouses will be the first people to be targeted are the Nigerian youth. We must say no to Bill Gates totality. And he is the one manipulating the whole public. You know, we immediately started talking about this. All of a sudden, the children in Kaduna were kidnapped.
Yeah.
Just to divert the attention of the people and then portray the government as incapable of defending the Nigerian people. By the time we talked about this, all of a sudden now, oh no, there's some obscure imam is now talking about the first lady.
Okay.
These are all diversionary tactics. It is the same Bill Gates. He should be brought to justice in Nigeria. We're not going to wait for America. We are going to issue the indictments in Nigeria and call him to answer it. And if he does not answer it, anywhere we see him in the federal government, we will arrest him and bring him to justice. This nonsense must stop. Because somebody is a billionaire, and so what? He's dictating vaccines, he's dictating policies, he's appointing ministers, he's carrying out food policy in Nigeria, he's carrying out health policy in Nigeria. Who is this man? He must be arrested.
Yeah, Prof. When you wrote the Senate, you copied a lot of international groups, the UN, ILO, the EU, Conference of Bishops, and so many other international organizations. Now, has there been any reaction coming from?
Yeah, there have been different reactions. As you could see, the Bill Gates charged all his parastatals working for him, the NBMA, the National Biosafety Management Agency. They were all up in arms. The so-called organizations that were set up as proxies for Monsanto, OFAB, and all that. They were all busy abusing me at the National Assembly and writing all sorts of things. But you know, these people are just actors who have been pushed out there by Bill Gates to speak for him. But what we want, the reaction we want, is Bill Gates to answer for himself, to say yes, okay, look, this is not what I'm doing in Nigeria. Then let us now have the open debate. Let him come to the National Assembly where he will answer to these charges, and we will go there and let there be a Senate hearing. It happens all the time in America. It happens everywhere. This is a democracy. Let him come. This is not a matter for one obscure lawsuit or anything. Let him come before the people. Say, okay, I've come to Nigeria to help the Nigerian people. Okay, we're now asking, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Before, so everybody will now listen, and then they will use their common sense to figure out the truth.
Okay, now you've called for the arrest of Bill Gates and for his trial.
Yes.
Now, beyond that, what do we need to do to contain this calamity?
Now, the first thing we are going to do, as a people, we ban GMOs. Okay. Anywhere you see any GMO, don't eat it, don't breathe it, if it's possible, get it destroyed. Any GMO that comes your way, they bring it to you for you to eat. You know that it's a GMO product, throw it away. Because you're not eating any food. Food nourishes. Toxins will only kill you. sooner or later you will be dead of cancer or any other thing. So why eat it? It's no food. Yeah. So the thing is, you get involved and make sure that your food is not GMO. And then we also discourage everybody around us about GMOs. We don't need them. They said, can you imagine when you say, okay, we are using it to solve the weevils, the insects you see in beans. So those weevils, you can use genetic material, method to actually protect the beans from that. Okay, wait a minute. Do you know we do that? We have been doing that for thousands of years. With 20 naira, 50 naira dry pepper. Yeah. You put it inside that bag, there will be no weevil there. So you are going to run to some genetic material where they will, when they put that genetic alteration, they will also alter the gene for reproduction. They put epicide, Monsanto epicide gene. If you eat that beans, you will not reproduce.
It sterilizes.
Sterilizes you automatically. So there's no more procreation in Nigeria. We will extinct our population. And the people are coming here to take over this land. This is the plan. And it is very discouraging that you see people who say they have attended school and they can't even make out 1 + 1. It makes no sense. How can Bill Gates come to this country, take away our whole natural food we've used for thousands of years? Where did you get the experience that your GMO will work? Even the U.S. Department of Agriculture is telling you GMO does not increase productivity of anything.
Even there in the so-called civilized, they reject it.
Yes, Britain, but Prince Charles is heading the campaign to stop GMOs in Britain. Oh, they don't know what they are doing there. Oh, the whole of Europeans, the Germans, the French, the Russians, the Italians, the Hungarians went every field of the GMO and burnt it down. The Russian president, if you actually are caught distributing GMO in Russia, you will go to 25 years imprisonment or life imprisonment. And if there is contamination of 1% with GMO gene, that means somebody some 10 miles away planted something that is GMO, and the insects got in touch with your own plant. That's contamination of 1%. You cannot export into the European Union. You cannot export into most of the countries. Okay. So that means the GMO food can never earn you any foreign currency. Okay. So what sense does it make?
Okay, Doc, finally, let me ask this question. Now, to what extent are Nigerian doctors aware of this development?
Yeah, we are briefing people, through both individual, through platforms, through different methods, making sure that people realize the danger. A lot of Nigerian doctors are aware, and they are taking the necessary personal precautions, which I cannot reveal here, which is necessary for them. But more importantly, we want a more proactive way. So we inform other people, because if people know of this and reject all the nonsensical things from Bill Gates, not one thing Bill Gates has done in this country that is useful, none, including his involvement in the so-called prevention of this disease or that disease. Rubbish things that don't even make medical sense. So we must reject and kick him out of this country with all his organizations and parastatals that he's supporting. And until this country does that, this country will never come to life. It's not possible. All these are problems, both economic. He uses the economic. He will use the World Bank. He will use the IMF to put pressure on Nigeria. The youth of Nigeria must take on the campaign to throw this guy out with all his organizations and all those people working for him in this country. Throw them out of this country so that we can have some life. You see what the Malians have done. See what all the Nigerians have done. See what all the Burkina Faso people have done. This is the country also. Niger Republic today is the fourth fastest growing economy. We don't have to do any coup. We still follow our democratic process. We still follow our governance structure. But we now reject what is evil. We reject it because the Malians discovered that where the French were occupying, it was where most of the terrorism was taking place. Yeah. So now when they kick the French out, the terrorism stopped. So that's what we have to do. So in this place, we kick out Bill Gates and all his multiple organizations, and this terrorism will vanish. They will not even have 3 weeks in this country because they can't sustain it. They are hired assassins. They are hired killers. So they have to be paid every month. And the billionaire, before he pays them, you have to show him evidence that you're killing people. That's what is happening. He's paying them 10,000 every month. Though they are big officers. So why wouldn't they kill people? And these are people coming from Libya, from all these conflict-prone countries in Africa, where you have active mercenaries. So I think the correct thing to do is for the youth of Nigeria to carry on the campaign and create awareness both among themselves and across the country, so we can kick out Bill Gates out of this country. He is the origin and source of every amount of terrorism and evil that is going on in this country.